All right, so I found our property marker on this side here, and we've got this real nice strip of forest and a mix of elm and ash, birch, maple. There's one big tree here that's, I don't know if that's an oak or a cottonwood. It's that kind of deep bark and big size of a cottonwood. And then here we've got this big meadow. Lots of birds getting on me. Watch these things. And there's a trail that runs kind of a horseshoe around the outside of the property here. Really pretty little cedar forest too. A lot of these cedar trees on this side. And I'd like to rejuvenate those a little bit. So there's all of this brush, a lot of like dogwood and grape, and want to get rid of all that. There's a couple of apple trees here which do produce delicious, I think it was an Empire. And so we want to maybe make this the orchard area over here, since there's already 2 or 3 apple trees. And depending on how much we clear, that could extend up toward the front of the property too. And we're gonna, mimic somewhat the cycles of nature. I'm waiting for another big rain so I can see the water flow a little bit better, but generally just kind of gradually flows diagonally to the lake across our property. So it's a pretty obvious, very gentle, like 2-degree slope. It's a very gradual slope. We've got closer to 5 degrees on the front of the property where the house is, but I don't know how much we can take advantage of that. And we'll mimic some things. Like I know where the big trees are growing. I know where the brushy stuff is growing. Like where all this brushy stuff here, there's a drain that comes all the way from the road down the whole side of this, and then it just ends over here. And right where it ends, where it would just kind of alluvial out into the landscape, that's where all of the thick brush is, and the real tall flowers like these. These are 6-foot, 7-foot tall flowers here, and they're getting pretty abundant water. So we know if we mimic what the plants are already getting here, more in the high part of the property over on this side is where the big trees are. And if we mimic that, then put our fruit trees there, so on, and our nut trees, then we know that we're kind of following how the water flow is already going in this property. So right here, there's a wild grape arbor that's formed, which the girls really loved in the summer. It's a little wonderland for them. So this might be a good spot for us to put, cultivated grape varieties, and have an arbor that's not just these wild grapes that aren't really as useful. So I'm paying close attention right now to how things are. Like in this flat area here, we know there's a lot of raspberries, and we're making a lot of mental notes like that to see what has already taken hold here in the, I don't know how long since it's been cleared, if that's been 40 years or 80 years, but it's not a very old landscape here, and it's almost all invasives. It's ash and buckthorn, grape, poison ivy, and luckily we don't have any of the real toxic plants like the yellow parsnip that is toxic to touch or anything like that. But we do have these giant tree-sized buckthorns, which are completely invasive. So we got our work ahead, and it will start once we get a heavy freeze. We're gonna come in and clear roughly an acre of this small stuff. These little 1 to 4 inch trees are all gonna go, and then unfortunately a lot of the heavier trees are the ash trees, which also need to be removed because they're getting the ash beetle. I guess our county is the heaviest for that. In Vermont, it's something like 60% ash trees where we live, and the Vermont forest is like, yeah, just please take them out. So we're working on it, and we're going to keep the maples and the elms, and the elms that are alive, that is, because we have a bunch of dead elms from the Dutch elm disease. But there's a few hemlock and other trees, so it won't be a complete clear cut, but we are going to clear a lot of this land and make some greenhouse and planting space and get our permaculture going.